I came out to do a quick inspection, what I thought was going to be a quick inspection of this area that was used for staging last summer that was stabilized way too late in the year. And obviously hasn't been maintained, but here's the situation. 2-acre site roughly, surrounded by grassy slopes that are draining a lot of water now. We've had a lot of rain this winter. So the silt fence hasn't been maintained and the wind's been blowing it. Honestly, it's really not necessary here now anyway. It could have been taken out. It was really more to keep vehicles off the grassy area outside the staging area. It's not really doing anything for erosion because of the way it's sloped. It's sloped downhill this way, a few percent grade, and the very slight grade this way. So it wasn't like water or anything was going to get off site. Could have been taken out, like I said. If it's going to stay, it needs to be maintained. So not good. They've used pieces of silt fence and had to overlap them. So you can see the overlap. The zip ties are all broken. Not happening here, but in general, if the water's flowing this way on the fence, the overlap is wrong. This section here should be out here so that the water would go around the silt fence or around the face instead of this way. Water would go in, follow between the two sections, and then come out down here. So it's not a problem on this installation, but it would be normally. I mentioned that this was hydroseeded too late. I believe it was early December. So it's mostly, well, not mostly, a lot of it's washed off. You can see some slight green appearing out here. So grass is starting to grow, and there's a whole bunch of pigeons out there eating seed. But this is going to have to be possibly regraded, as it was final graded when everything was too wet anyway. So possibly regraded, but it's all going to have to be reshot with hydroseed. Follow down the fence here. You can see all the water coming out of the surrounding slopes. All clean. And eventually, I don't know, it works over inside here, or maybe this is rainfall, I don't know. Anyway, water's flowing this way. Here's another incorrect overlap. And it is trenched in. Gotta hand them that. It's nicely trenched in. Can't pull the fence up. Now here we've got flow. So yeah, the flow, this is all from the rainfall. We just had a pretty good storm come through. So water's not coming through at this point. Once we get down here though, it's kind of looking like, well, same thing. There's posts are down, fabric's down, but it's still trenched in very nicely. We're getting a lot of flow, a clean flow along the base of the silt fence here. Still not going through, it looks like. I think when we get down here, as bad as the silt fence looks, because it's trenched in really well, there isn't water coming through this way, and there isn't water going through this way, so that's all good. Then we get down to the end here, where the silt fence has been abruptly stopped. Silt fence technically should have come up this way so that water would be and sediment would be contained in here. Now we're getting the flow. So we're adding flow from outside the work area to the flow that's coming off the work area here. There's really no established ditch line for the water to flow. And then some straw wattles were just laid out, not staked in. This one does have a low center, which is proper for any kind of check dam. But because it's not staked in, instead of water going over the top, it's just going under. And you can see all the scour in this area here. And then we get to the next straw wattle, not staked in, not really in the ditch line, and water's just going around it. You can see all the scour. At some point water was going this way. It's all scoured. Now the water's just being forced around and scouring the end of it. So if this was actually, oh, this is going to be heavy. If this actually was placed up here somewhere like that, then it creates a low point here that would allow water to build up and flow over the center instead of going around. So again, because it's not staked in, it's going to go under eventually. Probably just going to go under. But for a really flat, if this actually was a ditch line, a really flat slope like this, you need to curve the ends way back up so that the end point here and up here are higher than the center point where you want the water to flow. So water's just going underneath it over in here, so it's not actually going to end up overflowing the low spot. Then we keep on going. We get down here. No stakes. Wattles just laid out here kind of randomly. And water continues to go around. So not doing anything. And you can see all the sediment that's washed down through here and the deposition in this area. Scouring out down through here, water going under the straw wattle, and finally getting into a rock-lined ditch. Lots of buildup of sediment in the rock, and then getting down to an overflow down into a little pond down below. So from this point on, it's doing pretty well. But back up through here, it's poorly installed and poorly managed. Fortunately, this is all a really low risk site because the pond itself is plugged off, so water can't leave it. Here's a close-up of the mulch that was shot. This is really nice. It's holding up really well. But hydroseed mulch won't take concentrated flow like here, so it just washes away. Anyway, as far as risk goes, it's a low risk. As far as the best management practices, maintenance, inspection, and all that, it's very poorly done.